Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Advanced PowerShell Scripting with OneView PowerShell. Yeah. So before going to this workshop, I just want to share with you some extra experience. Right. The reason I developed this workshop because we heard about automation. We see a lot of announcement about the infrastructure as code, etc., the different libraries, but we don't see a lot of movement around how to push the automations, right? I have been as a consultant in America. I've been involved in a dozen of projects to automate OneView configuration for various customers. I just want to share with you one example, one very a simple example. We have a partner at OEM here in the US that deliver a turnkey solution to their end customer, and their solution consists of the one frame synergy, right? And every 2 months they have to deliver 10 frame like this, 10 frame to the end customer. So the first time they did that for one frame synergy. Configure from A to Z, right? The network, logical interconnect group, etc., etc. It takes them 2 weeks, and their commitment is that they have to deliver 10 solutions every in 2 weeks. So by doing it manually, they can only achieve one configuration for the 2 weeks. So they asked us to help to automate that. And what I did is I just use one master and extract all the information from the master and go into this configuration. Just change very few things, right? Because the solution look very similar. Just change the network VLANs and change the serial numbers of the enclosure. And then we generate the script to replicate that to the other 19 instances. And we did that. We every 2 days we build 4 frame per day. Okay. So in about a week, we can deliver the full solution to the customer. So that is very powerful automations. The second thing I want to share is the staging environment that you have today. You guys see the screen? Okay.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the staging environment for this workshops, right? So I have to configure a lot of items or attributes in OneView. For example, in the network, I have about, for each student, I want to create 10 networks with 10 different VLANs, right? And we plan to have on this OneView, every OneView instance, we can host up to 100 students. So basically, I have to stage this environment. I have to create about 1,000 of network per OneView instance, and we have 4 OneView instances. So basically, 4,000 network, right? Very simple, but a lot of work behind the scenes. So without automation, I will not be able to do that on time. Okay. So that's the 2 examples on why automation is a very critical and useful in the OneView environment. So let's go to this workshop. Okay. So the workshop is very simple. We will go through 2 different labs. The first lab is about how I can query OneView to collect information out of OneView, right? Our OneView. So the first lab will be on the get, and the second lab is on the right, on the how to modify OneView resource and how to create OneView resource. Okay, so let's go to the first lab. So please click on the left pane window, the workshop number 1. Okay. So the first thing, so in this lab we will use two commandlets from the OneView PowerShell library: the get OneView network, and the second one is get OneView logical interconnect group. Okay. So please follow with me with the instruction. So we're gonna execute the first code, which is we're gonna import the two library models. The first one, which is OneView 5.4, and the second one is a module that I use to generate Excel file called import Excel. All those modules, PowerShell modules, are on the PowerShell gallery. So you just go to the PowerShell library and download and install. Okay.
Before you start, let's maybe some people are not familiar with notebooks, so you want to explain how you run sales?
Okay. So as you can see here, when you click, when you see the cell with some PowerShell code, so just click inside the cell, and on top of that you have a play button. So just click on that, and it will execute the code. Okay.
One important thing that I can add is, as long as in front of the cell there is a star going on, this means that the cell is currently running. So don't execute any other cell as long as the one that you have executed or played is not finished. So to get the status as finished, you need to have a number in front of the cell. So as you can see, Dunk executed the first cell, get a number 1, meaning that the cell has been executed. You can move to the next one. And don't try to hit and play all the cells all together, because you'll end up in breaking your environment. With Dunk, as I highlighted the first cell, it's in blue, the one that you can see here. He played it, okay, meaning it executed the code that is within the cell. The code is importing some modules. That's part of the PowerShell, I would say, code. That's the code itself. It executed because there is a number in front of the cell. While the cell is running, you'll see a star, okay? And as long as the star has not vanished, it means that the cell is still running, the code is still executing, okay?
We execute the first cell. Now we'll execute the second cell, which is the first instruction of how to connect to OneView, right? It's exactly like the graphical interface when you connect to the browser of OneView and you log in, right? So that is the equivalent command. So I just highlight the cells, and now I will execute the play here, okay? So we finished the second cell, and you can see you have a number, and you have the output underneath of that, right? Okay. So you see this is a connection, okay? So I execute the third cell. The dollar, there's a global variable. As soon as you execute the connect OV management, it will generate a global variable called connect session to verify. You can execute that to verify that you have a connection to OneView. It is very important, guys, because you can the connect OneView management can do the fan out operation. So that means that I can connect to multiple instances of OneView in one single command. Okay, and the connect session variable will give you the list and array of connection ID. So if you want to talk in one specific OneView instance, you just use the connection ID. Okay. But here we have only one session, so that's okay. Okay, so now we are connected to the OneView instance. Okay, now we're gonna do the first query. So here we will run the get OneView network, right? So here I just click on the cell and execute again. Okay. Okay, so you see the output here, right? You see the output for your student. I have a 10 VLAN network, right? So you see the output here is very important because it gives you all the attribute, how you can access, how you can get the value of all the attributes. And if you look at if you look at some of the attribute that correspond exactly with the graphical in the graphical interface, right? How you create, what is the network, maximum, typical, etc., etc. So everything that is in the GUI is exposed here in the command line, right? So in order, so this just give you a summary of that, right? So if you want to access all the attributes of a given OneView resource, you can pipe the command to PowerShell command called format list star here. Okay, so I just execute. Let's do again with the OneView network, right? So this time I want all the attributes, so I pipe the command to format list. Okay, here you go. Now you have everything. Okay, you have VLAN ID, you have subnet, you have IPv6 subnet, etc., right? Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with another command called a logical interconnect group. So I will do the same exercise, the same process, but this time I target the logical interconnect group. Okay, so execute. There you go. So as you can see here the difference, right? Depending on the object, right? The format list just lists all the attributes of this object. So for the network, there's a very few parameters, right? Like bandwidth, Ethernet type, purpose, etc. But for other command, there may be thousands of attributes hidden inside, right? So here, for example, you have uplink set in the logical interconnect. You have interconnect map entry template. You have stacking mode, Ethernet settings, everything you've done with the GUI, like for example, enable cache failover, etc. Thousands of attributes. Okay, and all the attributes are not just a simple string or simple value. It can be an array, it can be a hash table, it can be everything. It can be a combination of an array of hash table, just like here, Ethernet settings, etc. It's a hash table, and inside this hash table, there are thousands of attributes underneath of that. So that's how they are grouped. They are grouped inside OneView. Okay, SNMP configuration. You see, inclusion type, it's huge, thousands of attributes. One important attribute of every object is the URI. Let me check, where's the URI? I don't have it. I must have it somewhere here. Where is it, my URI? Oh, here I go. So inside OneView, every object is identified by its URI. And as you can see, the URI is the REST, have a REST format, right? So for a logical interconnect will be REST, logical interconnect groups, and then the unique identifier. For network will be REST, Ethernet networks, and the unique identifier, right? So all the object in OneView, it is grouped in category, in the type. You have Ethernet network, server profile template, etc., etc. Everything you see on the graphical interface. So the first thing, always when you write any script with OneView, always try to identify the URI. Okay. So every object inside OneView is identified by its URI. Okay. So for example, so you have the URI of the object itself, but you can also here, for example, the internal network, right? Inside the logical interconnect group, it does not give you a name, it gives you an URI. Okay, so you have no idea what is this F008 here, right? Have no idea. So that's why the OneView library provides you a very, very useful command called send-ov request. So I can take any URI inside OneView and I just say send OV request -URI and the URI, and it will return me the object. Okay, so let's execute that. There you go. It gives me the full object. Okay, so think about, so always have this best practice, right? When you look at the attribute, if it's in a URI, think ahead. Okay, how can I get the object? Send OV request with this URI. Okay, so very, very useful. Okay, so now we have a basic. So let's do some fun thing, right? So you know about a network set, right? A network set is a collection of the network. So let's run the network set here, right? And here to show you an example why I use the array, because now the network set can return me an array. Okay, so let's go execute that. Oh, sorry. Again, format list. Return me an array. Come on. Slow. Mr. Francois is very slow. There you go. Not very slow. That's okay. So I have a network set, right? And the members of the network set are located under the network URI, right? So here you see a list of URI, REST Internet Network, etc., etc. You have no idea what is the name. Okay, so contain the list of the network So that's why I use the send OV request to get the network object, and inside and from this object I will use the attribute name so I can see the name. Okay, so let's go. There you go. Voila! It returned me all the names. See that? So the names are useless with the REST API inside the OneView library, right? It's all about URI. So you need to be familiar or leverage the send OV request to get the attributes you want. Okay, make sense? So to get the sample code here, just to show you how we can figure out how we can find the members of the network set, right? But it's very simple relationship, right? It's a parent-child relationship. But on some object, you can have a complex relationship, right? A many-to-one, child-parent, multiple level of hierarchy or relationship. An example, network set and a network, there's a direct relationship, parent and child. But if you look at the logical interconnect group, I was faced with this problem. I say, hey, I want to figure out which logical interconnect group use this network, not this network set, this specific network. Okay, but if you look at the GUI, the network is not defined directly in the logical interconnect group, right? You define or you associate the network only when you create an uplink set. So if you look at the relationship, the parent is logical interconnect group, and then its direct child or children is an uplink set, and inside the uplink set, I can find the network. So if to code my problem, my challenge, I have to say, okay, I have to do multiple loop, get OV logical interconnect group. For each logical interconnect group, get all the uplink set. For each uplink set, find the network. Okay, so it's very cumbersome. It's a lot of coding and a lot of coding. So that's why the OneView REST API use what they call the name association. Okay, so it exposes an API only with OneView REST called name association, and you have the link here that shows you the association here. So let me pull up the link. Okay, link, where is that link? Link manage parent child. Okay, so that is on the internet. Okay, so where is the name? Come on. Name association, where is the definition? I can't remember. About association name, here you go, right? So it gives you here directly a way to to facilitate your research. For example, if I go to logical interconnect group, okay. So for the relationship logical interconnect group, I can figure out there's a relationship here called logical interconnect group to network. So that means the parents is a logical interconnect group, and the sibling or the children or grandchildren is a network. So I can use this association directly to figure out which network are in which logical interconnect group. Okay, so let's go back to the lab and to see how it works. Okay, okay. So there's a root. There's a entry point for the REST called REST index association. Okay, so let's execute that to see what it does return. So again, see, I always use send OV request, right? And execute. And as you can see here, there's a star. So that means it's executing now. They are the number. Okay. So very important three things here. Okay. I have a count. So how many items I get from this list. I have a members, and the members are very important. The members is the members. Okay. So I have a members. Now I want to go look at what is inside the member. Okay, so I use a command here called GM, called get member. Okay, it will list me the properties of this command. Did I execute? No, I did not execute. So I go down again. So I use send OV request. It returned me an object. And in this object, I have a members and I have an attribute members. So now I use that. I look at that and I say, give me all the name of this, all the attribute of this member. So there are three attributes that is very important: is the name, the child URI, and the parent URI. Okay. So if we look back to my to the OneView REST API, okay, the name would be this one, logical interconnect group to network. The parent URI would be this one, and the child URI would be this one. Okay. Oops, sorry, my apologize. Okay, go back to the lab. Okay, so I have the name, I have a parent URI, I have a child URI. So how I use it? Okay. So first of all, I will, if I don't know the name, right? If I don't have time to look at the web, to look at the internet, what is the name? I say, I want to find all the association related to the network set. So I say members, filter out on the network set, okay? And then we go. And then once I have this name, I will put that the relationship name, and I will execute the parent, and I execute the command again to get the parent and the child. Let's go. There you go. It say, hey, network set to network. Okay, the relationship in network set to network. And it returned to me directly the parent and the child. Okay, in this example, I just look at the relationship network set to network. And it will tell me for each network set how many child I have on the right side. Okay, see that? A lot, thousand of them. Okay. So now I will. Now I understand that. Now I understand that. I will execute the command just to find all the networks belong to a given network set. So I say get the network set, I get the name, and then I use one command, very important, search OneView association. The name is network set to network, and the parent is the network set. Basically, this command tell me, give me all the children that belongs to this network set, okay? And once I have the URI, again, I use send OV request, and I get the name. Let's go. This is exactly the code. This is exactly the code that we executed earlier, right? Going through the loop, search for network set, and then search for network, right? Here you go. In one command, in 3 commands, sorry, I can find directly the networks coming from the belonging to a given network set, okay? Instead of doing 60 times the loop, okay? So now we go to, we do the same, we take the same approach to figure out a network that participate in the logical interconnect group, right? Or in the internal network, okay? So let's do it. Execute. There you go. And you got it, okay? The leads that use this network are, I found 2 logical network, 2 logical interconnect groups. Sorry for the, make sense, guys? So very, very powerful, the search OV association. It will help you to reduce writing code to do a search, go through all the loop, okay? So the last one to finish the Excel, to finish the the query lab is, I use Excel. I use the module import Excel, so I can say get OV network, and I pipe it directly to the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, that is the use of this module. Unfortunately, this module does not run well on this Jupyter, but it executes. So let's execute and to see what happens. Okay, so I export to Excel, and I put that in the path here, example. Okay, so if you execute that, it's done. And if you on the left pane Windows, you see the Excel file. Okay. It works very well on the local PowerShell, but not on this inside this environment, because due to some missing library. So you can download this Excel spreadsheet and look at the contents. Okay. So now once we're done, we disconnect. Okay, we disconnect. GOV management, just disconnect. Okay. So just to show you an example, how far we can go with this get command. So I wrote a script on and post on GitHub called export OneView resources. Okay, so this is the real environment. This is the synergy environment, or with 3 frames. Okay. And I wrote a script called export OneView resource. Okay, I just give a JSON file, which is the connections, right? IP address, username, and password. And then basically I go in, do get anything, get OneView network, get OneView security protocol, get scope, get time and local, get firmware bundle, get everything. And for every get, I search for all attributes, and with all those attributes, I dump that into then Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so here's the result. Let me show you the result. You see the Excel? So this is the result. Okay, security protocol. I figure out what is in it. Okay. OneView authentication, SMTP, is no big deal. Let's show you something interesting. Ethernet network, okay? Here you go. Figure out all the attributes. All the attributes that you see from GUI is now in the Excel spreadsheet. Fiber channel, network set, right? Logical interconnect group, very interesting, okay? Which frame is it? What is the configuration of the frame? What are the attributes, Ethernet settings, everything you can imagine, okay? And last thing to show you the server profile template. Something very interesting, profile template. Okay, so I have a profile template, definition of those profile, what is it, false, etc. And I have additional tab for that. What is the connection for each profile template? How it is configured? Okay, and this is real. This is not something that I made up with the Excel, right? Template local storage, and I just finished that template ILO. All the ILO settings that you can do at the server profile template. Domain, username, KMS, directory groups, etc., etc. Now you have the full documentation of your OneView environment. Okay. So that is the end of the first lab. Okay, let's go to the second workshop, the second lab, which is this time we do a write, we do a query, we do update and creating. Okay. So again, we do the same thing here, right? We do the import, import. Okay. We do a connect. Come on. Okay, done. We do a connect. Okay. We do a connect session. Same thing, right? Okay. So on a given object, right? On a given object, there's a lot of attribute. Some attribute you can update or modify it directly, right? Directly without impact on the object itself, on the production environment. For example, logical interconnect group. You want to change the name, right? You can go directly from the GUI, change the name, and it applies directly. No change in the configuration, right? Same thing for network, same thing for server profile template, everything you can imagine. So in this case, it's very simple. We have how to say that, a command. We will not execute this code because we will execute that at the end because it takes a lot of time, okay, due to the configuration of our DCS. So to change a simple how to say that attribute like a name, you just say set OneView resource. You read, okay, so I just go to the code. I don't execute, right? You execute, you get the logical interconnect group. You find the attribute name, and then you set the new name, and you say, okay, now I put the new name into this object again, and then I say set OV resource, and it go out, and it will change. So no big deal, right? But for some other attribute that may have impact on the environment, it will not allow you. The set OV resource will not allow you to do it. For example, one example is a network, OneView network. You set a VLAN, right? 222. And then you say, oh, no, I changed my idea now. I want 225. Well, you cannot go back to an existing network and change the VLAN, okay? You have to create a new network, and then a new network with the new VLAN ID, okay? That's one example. The second example is the server profile template, server profile template. You have a connection, you define the connection, right? You define connection, connect to this, on this mesh, etc., right? And now you say, no, I want to change. Well, when you change network connection on the server profile, there's a lot of work behind the scene because OneView had to go out and go down to the FlexNIC and change all the port configuration, the virtual flex port, the FlexNIC, okay? So it will not allow it without you shutting down the server and then then change the profile, and then reapply, and then reboot the server, right? So this simple command, set OV resource, will not will not do it, right? So set OV resource is for very simple thing, right? So if you want to know which one you can use with set OV resource, just look at the GUI. All the operation that you can do online, modification online, without any impact, you can do with set OV resource. But everything that say, oh, I need you to reboot, I need you to reboot the server, or the server is still on, etc., etc. Then you say, okay, it's not the, I cannot use the set OV resource, for that simple operation. So we will skip this. We will skip this code, and we will execute later. Okay. So that is the modification. So let's talk about the network with the new VLAN, right? So I have to create a new network with the new VLAN. So how do I create that? Okay, on the GUI is very simple, create network, right? But what happens if you have thousands of things to do, 1,000 of network with VLAN? It comes back to the original challenge is how can I automate creation of network? Okay. So you don't know, you look at the library, you say, what should I do? There's so many parameters. What would I do? How do I start? And by the way, there's a question of one student asking that. I don't know how to start, where to start to learn about automation, right? So this is the reason why we wrote a command called convert to PowerShell script. So basically this command says, okay, you get a network, for example, get an existing network, get OV network, and then you pipe it to convert to PowerShell script. Basically, it's a read OneView object and give me the script. Give me the script that generate this this network. So this is how I learned. This is how I learned how to code in PowerShell OneView, right? I say, okay, I do the GUI get OV network. Okay, I'm done. I go to the PowerShell command and say, get OV network, pipe, convert to PowerShell script. Okay, let's do it. So you will see how it generates. Okay, let's go. See, I say get OV network, convert to PowerShell script, and pipe that to my command, to my file called net.ps1. And here you go. And if I open it, open with editor. Can I? Yes, let's try. Here you go. We generate the script for you. So you don't have to do anything, right? So basically a query OneView, it get the value for a given network, student 2026 here. It get all the values, put that all the variables, and at the end, it gives you the exact command to run it. So you don't have to figure out which parameter I need to put, right? So now it's very simple. It's very simple because if I want to create a network with a new VLAN, I just go into this script and change the value and then run it. And then I create for me a new network. Of course, I have to change a new name, right? Make sense? So that is very, very powerful. This is how you can learn a PowerShell, OneView PowerShell, okay? So so basically I take this code, right? Exactly. And I just paste it here and I just change a new VLAN, right? The 226 for me. Now I just add 300. I change the name here, and I execute that. Okay, let's do it. See, I don't need to learn. I don't need to go through all the example. It's right here at your fingertips. Get OneView logical interconnect group, generate PowerShell script for me. Done. See that? It create a new network of 500. Nice. Okay, same thing here. Okay, let's do with the leak. So OneView network is simple, but with the leak, you will see that there's a lot more. Okay, done. I go here, I go advanced, I go example. It should create the leak. I open it, see that? A lot of parameters. Okay, so it's very useful because it helps you really to learn PowerShell. Okay, like it, guys? Okay, so that's basically the end of this lab too. Okay, so before I just want to show you what I did with those convert to PowerShell script. So let me go back. Give me 2 seconds, guys. So I already export. I export in the previous lab. I export the config to an Excel file, right? To an Excel file. So I have an export from something. Okay. So now I create a script called import. So basically, the script import just read the Excel file and generate script for me. Okay, let's go. There you go. And as you can see, so first of all, it creates a PowerShell script. Okay. And I say, well, in the meantime, can it generate Ansible playbook? So I do the same thing. I generate both PowerShell and logical and playbook. Okay. So if you go on the website where is there's an import right now, I have everything on PowerShell script, and I'm almost complete with the Ansible playbook. Okay, so basically, you guys see my folder, right? Basically, it's create subfolder like this: appliance, facility, hypervisor, networking, server, settings, etc. Right? So let's take a look at logical interconnect group. So it's under networking, logical interconnect group. Okay, let's go. Show me logical interconnect group. Voila, it generates a connection for me. It generates for each logical group, it generates exactly the command. Okay. So if I want to replicate my environment to a new environment, I just go and change some value and I'm done. See that? So get OV logical interconnect group. I have a lot of logical interconnect groups, so it generates a script for each logical interconnect group. Okay, so let's go to another one. So that is the PowerShell script, and underneath of that, I have the YAML. Here you go. I generated YAML for you directly. See that? Is that cool, guys?
Well, when you let us have it, it will be. It's very cool.
I look at the Ansible playbook SDK from GitHub. Their example is too basic, right? Create logical interconnect group with the name, and everything is hard code, right? And here I don't hard code anything. Here I don't hard code. For example, I take another complex example, which is server networking. Networking, no, it's not networking, it's on server. Profile template. Okay, let's go profile template right now. Profile template. Is that profile? No, logical enclosure is more. Oh, profile template. Okay, profile template. There are much more value to that, right? Profile template, network. Search for done. Should be done capture. Now let's take another example. I just wrote it enclosure. Yeah. So in those example of the OneView SDK, right? Everything is hard code. I say no, it cannot be hard code, right? you should query your destination to get the value, right? So see that var 001 URI, those var are defined here, right? So I use the fact which is the get in OneView PowerShell. So I query the destination. I say, here my serial number. Give me all the enclosure that match this serial number. It will return to me and the object. And in this object, I go to the loop and I figure out the URI, I figure out the name, and I store that in the var so that I can use that later. Okay. So it's not hard coding. Okay, look at that. So very dynamic, right? Allow you to adapt to your environment, etc., etc. Okay, the example on the Ansible Playbook SDK to everything is hard code, so I just hate it. Make sense? So here is an example I just finished on enclosure group, logical enclosure, where you can set the IP address for each bay, the ILO IP address for each bay, and the ILO IP address for the interconnect, like what we had with the virtual connect, EBIPA. Is that cool? So by the end of this week, this code will be on the GitHub with all the Ansible. Any other question, guys? So see, from the very simple get query, you can really build complex solution to fully automate the OneView, right? Get the inventory, and then after that, export or import by generating PowerShell script. So two things to remember, right? If you want to learn how to write the script in PowerShell, only one command: convert to OV PowerShell script. Get something and convert, and then you have all the script. You don't need to figure out all the parameters, all the value. Is that a string? Is that an array? Is that the list? Is that the hash table? We did it behind the scene for you. So that will help you to really kickstart your automation with PowerShell. Okay, so that is for writing script. For getting information is always the command: get, and then format list that gives you all the attribute you need. And when you look at the attribute, you say, oh, I have this attribute, name, maximum bandwidth, etc., etc. Uplink set, oh, now I can reach out, I can touch the attribute and get the value of those attributes. That's how you navigate inside OneView, okay? And the last thing is that when you do a lot of queries, searching for relationship like network to logical interconnect group, think about association name. That will speed up your search, your queries to OneView, right? One example in OneView, usually, for example, when you go to the SAN storage volume, you see the list of the SAN storage volume, and at the end, and one column is say used by your profile, right? This SAN volume is used by the VMware ESX profile. How do we figure out? Well, we use the name association called server profile to volumes, and in one query, I can figure out all the volumes used by all the server profile. Okay.
The question that we had pre-registered, Doug, one is, it's pretty cryptic, but it's deploy OS without streamer. So this one, I think I understand. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
Oh, okay. So so this is not related to OneView, right? It's not related to OneView.
Not really.
Right. So you have image streamer, you don't want to use image streamer. There are several techniques, right? The easiest way is the traditional way, or The 1990 technique is to attach an ISO file on the CD, on the ILO virtual media, and to attach the answer file to the floppy and boot from CD. And it will, if everything works well, it will read, it will boot from the ISO, read the answer file from the floppy, and execute it. Okay, there's an internal project inside HPE called OSDA, OS Deployment Automation, that leverage this technology, but it's more like for automation. So you just provide to OSDA the path to the ISO and the server, and it automatically do the connection for you. If not, you go to the GitHub. I think I have a script called deploy OS through ILO. So that's the technique I use. I connect to the ILO, I mount the virtual media, and then I boot from the CD. Okay, that's how I automate that.
And there was a second question, which I'm not sure I understand, but I'll read it out. Installation and usage of PowerShell library without an exe to install in a non-internet system has to be shown in lab.
This is an unsupported method, guys. Okay, so PowerShell. So now every PowerShell library is on the gallery. Okay, gallery.com. Let's go. Okay, go quickly. Let's say HPE OneView. Okay.
Oh, I think I got the question finally. So you don't have access to the PowerShell gallery and you want to install the PowerShell library. I think that's
right.
the question.
So you do that from your laptop. Okay. Hold on. You do that from the laptop. If you have connection, you just run the install. It will do anything for you. If you don't have a laptop, you manually download the raw package file here. Okay, to your laptop, put that on the USB, go to your no internet machine, copy this file. Hold on, copy this file, okay, open. So if you open this file, come on, how do I open this? It's under download, show in folder. Of course, show in folder. Come on, okay. And then you just rename. Hold on. You just rename a zip. Voila. But it's not supported. Okay. Copy a zip and then copy the folder in under C program file. C program file. What is that? C program files. Program files, Windows PowerShell models. This is where all the models are, right? So copy the folder to here, and it should work. Okay. We have done some research on the design configuration. It's not well designed, the design state configuration. It's not like Ansible, right? Ansible, you just run and it check if present or delete or modify or absent, etc. Design state configuration is not for OneView. So we drop this research. We say too complicated.
Okay, so I stick to Ansible for that.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, forget design state. It was the design feature from Microsoft. And by the way, guys, one last thing, right? One last thing. People say, oh yeah, you develop PowerShell, but my customer run only Linux. It does not work on PowerShell. Just for your information, this Jupyter notebook, inside in the background, the code is a Linux. Is a right, Frederick? Can you correct me if I'm wrong? It's a Linux VM, right? Linux something, right? Red Hat.
It's an Ubuntu 20.04 running .NET and PowerShell version 7 something,
Yes.
if I remember well.
Yes.
So your notebook were running PowerShell on Linux so far, and you're not doing anything on Windows today.
PowerShell is now part of any Linux distribution. So you can install PowerShell just like you install Python or
And on your Mac OS as well.
on your Mac OS as well. And
Yep.
once you have that, you can run any script, any PowerShell script on Linux.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Dang. Any other questions? If there is no questions, I give you 1 more minute to answer the poll if you haven't done so yet. And thanks a lot for those who did. Seems like everyone enjoyed that session. So thank you very much. And we will close the call and hope to see you in 2 weeks for the session on natural language processing. Thank you again, Dong. That was great.